Welcome everybody to the 2020 Acura RDX A-Spec. Now I have already tested out the RDX previously when it came out last year for its third generation. That was a substantially important vehicle for Acura. It's now riding on an Acura developed platform. It's not based upon lesser Honda, although it will have quite a few carryover components to the economy brand. And I was very fond of that car. I loved the way it looked. I thought it was pretty good to drive, and the inside certainly offered a few interesting things to separate it from its compact crossover competition. So let's break down everything that is going on in this A-Spec model, and then some of the small changes I've noticed that have come along for the 2020 model year. Now, this video wouldn't be possible without the help of Silver Hill Acura in Calgary that were kind enough to lend this car off to me for a couple days so I could review it. All of their information is linked down below, and if you want to test drive this exact vehicle I'm driving right now, head over to their dealership on McLeod Trail. The previous RDX, the second generation, had been on the market for quite some time, and it was in desperate need of replacement, at least in my opinion, and Acura replaced it with what I think is a vehicle that you should seriously consider owning. The A-Spec, same story. There aren't many significant mechanical upgrades of what you get to the regular RDX to what you get in this car. The wheels that you see in this vehicle are 20 inches, and the rest of the RDX models get 19-inch wheels. Alongside with these wheels actually being larger, they're actually slightly wider as well. The only complaint I had towards the looks of that previous RDX I tested out is that there was a lot of space in that wheel well. It didn't seem like the 19-inch wheels effectively took up all of that space. Here with these 20-inch wheels, that complaint does not carry through at all. Being the A-Spec model, we are getting a few different touches inside and out. Of course, the A-Spec badging that you'll see on the steering wheel, on the side seals, and dotted throughout the exterior of the car. All of the chrome detailing on the other RDXs has been switched out for black plastics. There's a slightly more aggressive bumpers and these aggressive red sport dials. And then on the inside, you are getting some more unique touches for the A-Spec. There's a lot of Alcantara in this vehicle, different steering wheel with these unique shiny paddle shifters, and the sport seat setup that feature this Alcantara straight down the middle. They look great, they feel great. They do lack the thigh extension of which the RDX that I previously tested out had, and that is a godsend for me in any vehicle. It's something I actually really look for when I get into a new vehicle. Sadly, not here though. And it strikes me as perhaps a little bit cheesy that there is a strip of Alcantara here right in front of the passenger and not placed elsewhere along the door cards. Cheesy, tacky, whatever word you want to use. I don't think the Alcantara is best served there. I think it would look better if it could have been spread further throughout the cabin. The A-Spec also has the active noise control, where it's using a sound generator to pump induction noise into the cabin. It's all fake noise, but driving about now, let me just pin the throttle a little bit so you can hear what it sounds like in comfort mode. Okay, decent enough noise, nothing special. But if I go into Sport and then Sport Plus, here's the difference. I don't know if that difference is as noticeable on camera, but I can plainly tell you that there is a lot more noise lower down, and it really does seem as artificial as they come. So the powertrain is a carryover, the 2-litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine that has 272 horsepower and 280 pound-feet of torque with super handling all-wheel drive and the 10-speed automatic transmission. This engine has some relation to the engine that is in the Civic Type R, and I quite like it. There is a noticeable bit of turbo lag, but with the improvement of this 10-speed transmission, it's able to gear down a little faster, make you get into the power range when you really are cooling upon it. The paddles behind the steering wheel are a bit chintzy. Still, if you are driving about and the car doesn't want you to be in that gear, or you're approaching red line, it will still shift for you. When I first got into that 2019, and in my review I note that it feels a little clunky from time to time. It does feel like there's a little bit of grab and jolting every once in a while. I have only driven this car for a couple days now, and I have yet to experience any sort of issue that I have in this 10-speed or the other Honda 10-speeds. So with 2020, maybe they've reprogrammed the software slightly, maybe they've just refined it even further, but it does feel like a better transmission here than what it did a year ago. Another slight update that I've seen for the 2020 model is when you're engaging the dynamic mode with the dial right in the center of the car, the graphic on the screen is a little different to what I remember it. So outside of those two things, I don't really know what else has changed for 2020. Oh, that's the other thing. Yeah, for 2020, you do get a different white color available. Another thing that came along with this new RDX when it came out last year was the Acura True Touch interface. This was a totally different approach for Acura, with this mouse pad that you have down below and a 10.2-inch screen that isn't a touch screen at all. You can't interact with this very beautiful, and I have to say very responsive screen. You have to resort to this square and rectangle pad and these three buttons placed on top. When you first get into this car, it's going to be quite a bit strange because it isn't the mouse pad that you would think it is on your computer or perhaps maybe like a Lexus product. The way that I think it works best is if you place your finger right into the center of this large square and drag into whatever corner you're aiming for. So I'll place the thing right in the middle, and here in Apple CarPlay, of which is included with this 10.2-inch screen. I want to now shuffle track, so I place my finger right in the center and I drag down into the corner where that button is located, and then I'll press down in that space to select that option. Still with the RDX, you get these funky noises when you're shifting in between menus, and when this car starts up and turns off, you get all these fun animations and noises. If you were to live with this car, actually own one, I wonder if it would annoy you at all. If you're someone that really does own a 2019 or even a 2020 RDX, I'd love to hear what you have to say about that comment. So I do like this system. Yes, it's not as quick to learn as a rotary wheel or a touch screen. There's certainly a learning curve to it, but I think it works very well, and so far it has been very consistent. And like I said, the screen itself looks great. When you go to the navigation, it looks very modern. It looks like it belongs in a premium brand. Other things I like about the interior, having this storage space down below where you can hide away a handbag or other items, is fantastic. The center console is a good size. Sliding this over where you have your USB plug-in and resting your phone, and the cup holders is a good size. Driving position is great, visibility is excellent, and for my height, for my seating position, this screen doesn't impede over the bonnet lines at all. I don't have to look over it and then look over the bonnet to place the car at all. Maybe that's pertaining to my height. As with any other car though, there's a few things that I'm not fond about. For one, there's a bit too much piano black plastic in this vehicle all around the air vents. This whole center arrangement is black plastic. I wish they could have used the silver detailing of which we see here in this space as well, but I have to say there are quite a few different shades of silver in here. It doesn't bother me, but it's certainly inconsistent. The ELS sound system is marvelous, one of the best I've personally encountered in a car. The 7-inch digital screen in front of you offers quite a lot of relevant information. You can have the super handling all-wheel drive display so you can see where the power is going to each wheel. A great assortment of soft plastics where you really want them, particularly here where I'm resting my knees on the door card and on the center console. You can find some harder plastics throughout the car as well. Nothing that screams budget to me, but if you get into a few of its German competitors, I think you'd be able to find quite a few more soft plastics down low. Rear seat comfort is very good for the RDX. I'm very happy to report that. Lots of space for me to sit behind myself. You could probably fit 3 of me abreast and have no issues. The boot space is fantastic. Very low loading floor. You'll appreciate that if you constantly are loading heavier items in and out of your car. You'll have a couple handles to lower the 60-40 splitting seat, and underneath the false floor there really is a lot of additional storage space, and even underneath that space you have access to your spare tire. Couple of tie down hooks as well. No grocery bag holders, which is something I'm really starting to appreciate in the boot spaces of cars that I get into. Where I think all of the Japanese premium brands really excel over their German competitors is how much standard equipment you'll get in their basic models. So for this RDX, you get the 1 powertrain, the 2-litre engine with all-wheel drive. You'll get the 7-inch digital instrument cluster. You'll have the 10.2-inch touchscreen, the Acura Watch safety system, so that includes the forward collision warning, lane keep assist, automatic high beam, radar-assisted cruise control, dual-zone climate control, and heated front seats. Some of the upgrades you'll find in this A-Spec model include a heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, the ELS Studio 3D sound system, and the power tailgate. It's an incredibly easy car to drive, to live with, and to look at as well. The RDX really is a very good all-rounder. So that concludes everything that I want to say about the RDX. In my opinion, this car is still something that you should consider owning if you're shopping in the compact crossover segment. It's a really well-rounded vehicle. I personally love the way it looks. It might not have the driving dynamics of a BMW. It might not feel as solid inside as an Audi, but with so many people shopping in this segment, I think technology is behind a lot of purchase decisions when it comes to any new vehicle, and this Acura supplies so many of those features as standard equipment. So that's why, again, I think you should consider owning this vehicle. So that's been everything from me. Thank you so much for taking the time to watching this video, and many thanks again have to go off to Silver Hill Acura that lent this car out to me for a couple days so I could review it. All of their information is linked down below. And if you wouldn't mind doing me the biggest favor in the world by liking the video and sharing it and subscribing to the channel, it really does mean a lot. Thanks again for watching. Hope to see you again soon.